Imagine a world where towering giants roam the earth, their reign unchallenged, a place where the earth itself seems to pulse with life. Now picture that same world plunged into darkness and chaos, the air thick with ash and the ground shaking beneath the weight of an event that would change the course of life forever. This is the story of the day before and after the asteroid impact that brought an end to the age of dinosaurs. What did the world look like just before everything changed? How did the creatures of the Mesozoic era adapt, struggle, and ultimately perish in the wake of a cataclysmic event? Time is fleeting, yet in a single instant everything can change. One moment life flourishes, the next it teeters on the edge of extinction. The Earth has seen many such moments, but none as profound as this. On a quiet day in the distant past, life on Earth was thriving, unperturbed by the looming catastrophe that would soon send the planet into a new era. But then something arrived from the skies, a harbinger of destruction. The impact of an asteroid 10 kilometers wide would forever alter the course of life on Earth. What were the days like before the impact, and how did the world change after it?
To understand the impact of the asteroid, we must first look at the world that existed before it. The late Cretaceous period, roughly 66 million years ago, was a time of great diversity and prosperity for life on Earth. Dinosaurs dominated the land, but they were not the only creatures that called the planet home. Giant marine reptiles like mosasaurs and plesiosaurs ruled the oceans, while soaring pterosaurs filled the skies. The Earth was a hotbed of evolutionary experimentation, with species adapting to every corner of the planet. But in this seemingly stable world, changes were already taking place. The continents were shifting, creating new ecosystems and altering old ones. Climate patterns were changing and the atmosphere was evolving, but nothing could prepare life for the catastrophe that would unfold.
It was during this time that a massive asteroid traveling at more than 20 kilometers per second was heading toward Earth. The event had been years in the making, a series of cosmic events that eventually led to this collision. The impact was inevitable, but its timing was a matter of fate. For the creatures of the Mesozoic era, life went on as it always had. Herbivores grazed in lush forests and plains, while carnivores stalked their prey. The skies were filled with flying reptiles, and the oceans teemed with ancient marine life. The world was balanced, its ecosystems finely tuned. The Earth itself was a living, breathing entity. But on this fateful day, none of them knew the horror that awaited. Among the dinosaurs, the apex predators, like the mighty T-Rex, were at the top of the food chain, their reign unchallenged. Meanwhile, smaller carnivores like the velociraptor worked in coordinated packs to take down larger prey. The day before the impact, the world was full of life, but all that was about to change. The ground beneath their feet would soon tremble, the skies darken, and the world's most formidable creatures would face an extinction-level event. And then it happened. The asteroid struck. The force of the impact was so intense that it caused massive wildfires, released vast amounts of ash into the atmosphere, and sent shockwaves across the planet. Earth's climate was irrevocably altered. For weeks, darkness blanketed the sky as dust and debris blocked out the sun. Temperatures plummeted and the planet was plunged into a nuclear winter. The Earth's ecosystems, once thriving, now teetered on the brink of collapse.
In the days after the impact, the survivors were few. The world had become an inhospitable wasteland. Herbivores struggled to find food, and carnivores, once at the top of the food chain, were now fighting for their survival. In the blink of an eye, the Earth had transformed from a paradise to a battlefield. The survivors of the impact faced unimaginable challenges. With the collapse of ecosystems, many species of plants and animals perished. The world's food chains were shattered. Those that survived the initial shock were now forced to adapt quickly to the changing environment. Herbivores, once abundant, now fought for their very survival, while predators struggled to find enough food to sustain themselves. For the dinosaurs, the world had changed beyond recognition. The once dominant species were now fighting a losing battle against time and the relentless forces of nature.
In the wake of the disaster, only the hardiest species managed to survive. The asteroid impact had set the stage for a new world, one that would eventually give rise to new forms of life, mammals, birds, and other survivors. But for the dinosaurs, it was the end of an era. The asteroid impact may have destroyed the dinosaurs, but it also set in motion the evolution of life as we know it today. The survivors of this catastrophic event went on to fill the niches left vacant by the dinosaurs, paving the way for the rise of mammals and eventually humans.
In order to truly understand the cataclysmic event that wiped out the dinosaurs, we need to dive into the science of the asteroid impact. This wasn't just a giant rock hitting Earth, it was a series of earth-shattering events, each more devastating than the last. As the asteroid hurtled through space, it collided with Earth with unimaginable force, releasing energy equivalent to billions of atomic bombs. This event set off a chain reaction that would forever alter the planet's atmosphere, climate, and ecosystems. The impact created an instant fireball, setting forests ablaze across vast areas. The heat was so intense that it vaporized rock and created a gigantic crater, now known as the Chicxulub crater. The dust and soot ejected into the atmosphere created an impenetrable barrier, blocking the sun's rays and leading to a drastic temperature drop across the globe. The darkness lingered for months. In that time, Earth's ecosystems would change in ways that no living creatures, even the mighty dinosaurs, could have anticipated.
In the wake of the asteroid impact, the Earth plunged into a state of crisis. Plants that depended on sunlight to grow withered and died, leading to a collapse in the herbivore population. Without herbivores to prey upon, the carnivores faced a harsh reality: they were unable to sustain themselves. The delicate web of life that had existed for millions of years was suddenly torn apart. Species that had once thrived in stable ecosystems were now fighting to survive in a world that no longer resembled the one they had evolved in. For the dinosaurs, it was a battle for survival that they couldn't win. The cold temperatures, lack of food, and environmental instability were too much for them to overcome. As the weeks passed, many species perished. The once dominant creatures that had ruled the Earth for millions of years were now on the brink of extinction. But in the ruins of this world, some creatures would rise to meet the challenge. While the dinosaurs met their untimely end, the survivors of the extinction event began to evolve and adapt to their new world. The mammals, which had previously been small, nocturnal creatures living in the shadows of the dinosaurs, found themselves in an entirely new environment. With the dinosaurs gone, mammals began to expand into the ecological niches left vacant. The mammals were able to thrive in the absence of their former competitors. Some evolved into larger, more complex species, while others adapted to new habitats. The birds, the descendants of small theropod dinosaurs, also began to diversify, filling ecological roles in the air and on the ground. Slowly but surely, life began to rebuild itself. As time passed, the Earth began to recover from the impact. The long-term effects of the asteroid impact, such as climate cooling and reduced sunlight, slowly faded. The new world was radically different. The once dominant dinosaurs were gone, but their legacy lived on in the creatures that adapted to the changing world. The process of evolution, natural selection, adaptation, and survival began anew. In the absence of the great reptiles, new life forms flourished and eventually evolved into the diverse range of species we see today. Over millions of years, this new world would give rise to mammals, eventually paving the way for humans to emerge. Without the asteroid impact, the world we know today would be vastly different. The extinction of the dinosaurs opened the door for mammals to thrive, ultimately leading to the rise of humanity. The asteroid impact that ended the reign of the dinosaurs was one of the most pivotal moments in Earth's history. It is a reminder of the fragility of life, the unpredictability of nature, and the power of change. While the extinction of the dinosaurs may seem like a tragic event, it paved the way for the development of the complex ecosystems that we now depend on. Today, scientists study the fossils of dinosaurs to understand our planet's past and how life on Earth evolved to what it is today. But as we look back in time, we also must ask, what lessons can we learn from the extinction of the dinosaurs? What would happen if such a catastrophe occurred today? The extinction event that occurred 66 million years ago forever changed the course of life on Earth. The dinosaurs, once the undisputed rulers of the planet, were gone, and a new world emerged. But the legacy of the dinosaurs still resonates in the creatures that followed, in the birds that fly above us and the mammals that walk beside us. And just as the dinosaurs once ruled the Earth, we too are now the stewards of this planet. But like the dinosaurs before us, we are not invincible. The Earth will continue to change and life will continue to evolve. What comes next for us? Only time will tell. While the asteroid impact wiped out most life on Earth, it also left behind a treasure trove of evidence. Fossils buried deep within the Earth offer us a glimpse into the world of the dinosaurs. These ancient remnants of life provide valuable clues about how these creatures lived, how they interacted with their environment, and what they were like in their final moments. But the impact itself also left its mark in the very rocks beneath our feet. The Chicxulub crater, located in what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, is a silent testament to the force of the asteroid's collision. The evidence is scattered across the globe, hidden in layers of sediment and rock, waiting to be uncovered by those who seek to understand the past. Through these fossils, scientists have pieced together the story of the dinosaurs, who they were, how they lived, and what their final days may have looked like. The evidence is all around us, buried beneath the surface, waiting to tell its story. Paleontologists have made incredible discoveries over the past century, unearthing fossils that reveal new insights into the lives of dinosaurs. From the smallest feathered raptors to the colossal sauropods, every discovery brings us closer to understanding this lost world. In recent years, scientists have begun to piece together a more detailed picture of the days leading up to the asteroid impact. Some believe that certain dinosaurs were already showing signs of stress long before the asteroid struck, possibly due to volcanic activity, climate shifts, or other environmental factors. These discoveries suggest that while the asteroid may have been the final blow, it wasn't the sole cause of the mass extinction. Some paleontologists theorize that volcanic activity in what is now India, known as the Deccan Traps, may have contributed to the dinosaurs' decline. These massive eruptions spewed enormous amounts of gas into the atmosphere, leading to acid rain, cooler temperatures, and disrupted ecosystems. This could have weakened the dinosaurs, making them more vulnerable to the catastrophic impact of the asteroid.
The asteroid impact didn't just destroy life, it also drastically altered the very surface of the Earth. The initial explosion created a crater over 180 kilometers wide and sent debris flying across the globe. This led to wildfires, tsunamis, and an enormous amount of dust and soot that blocked sunlight for months, if not years. This sudden and drastic change in conditions led to a global winter where temperatures plummeted and plants struggled to survive. As a result, herbivores were unable to find enough food, and the carnivores that relied on them followed suit. It was a perfect storm of environmental changes, one that was too severe for most species to withstand. The impact didn't just change the face of Earth, it also changed its climate for millions of years. But even in the face of such destruction, life found a way to adapt. Those that survived began to evolve into new forms of life, slowly filling the void left behind by the dinosaurs.
The asteroid's impact not only marked the end of the dinosaurs, but also opened up new opportunities for other creatures to thrive. In the aftermath of the extinction, small mammals began to fill the ecological niches left vacant by the giant reptiles. Though mammals had existed before the impact, they were small, mostly nocturnal creatures that lived in the shadows of the dinosaurs. But with the world's ecosystems in disarray, these small mammals began to evolve into larger, more diverse species. It wasn't just mammals that took advantage of the changing environment. Birds, the descendants of small theropod dinosaurs, also began to flourish, adapting to the new world with remarkable speed. The survivors of the extinction event gradually gave rise to new life forms. While dinosaurs ruled for millions of years, mammals and birds eventually became the dominant species. And today it is these creatures, our distant relatives, that continue to shape the world we live in. Though the dinosaurs are long gone, their legacy is far from forgotten. Their reign on Earth shaped the course of life, and the evidence of their existence is still visible in the fossils they left behind. Every fossilized bone, tooth, and footprint tells a story of a time long past, of creatures that once roamed the Earth with awe-inspiring majesty. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of the dinosaurs is their contribution to the evolution of life. Without the asteroid impact, it's unlikely that mammals would have had the opportunity to rise, and without the rise of mammals, the evolution of humans and our place in the natural world might never have occurred. The dinosaurs were not just the rulers of their time, they were the architects of the world that would follow. And as we look back on their reign, we are reminded of the fragility of life, the unpredictability of nature, and the incredible power of change. The end of the dinosaurs marked the end of an era, but it was also the beginning of something new. The asteroid impact that ended their reign was a catastrophic event, but it also set the stage for the rise of new life forms, the mammals and birds that would dominate the planet in the millions of years to come. As we reflect on the legacy of the dinosaurs, we are reminded that life is ever-changing, shaped by forces beyond our control. The Earth is a dynamic living entity, constantly evolving and transforming. The question is not whether life will continue, but how it will evolve next.